What ultimately led to Taylor Swift and Blake Lively's falling out? Well, we know that in the new unredacted text between them, it seems that Taylor and Blake plotted a lot of their schemes together and supported each other against Justin. But obviously that tune had to have changed because nowadays it seems like Taylor has distanced herself a lot from Blake and wants nothing to do with her and her lawsuit against Justin Baldoni anymore. But then we have Taylor's song Cancelled, which seems to reference the Baldoni case and indicates that she still has Blake's back. So which is it? Are they still friends behind the scenes, or are they not speaking to each other? Spoiler alert, I think it's kind of both. Let me explain. But before I start, this video is going to be purely my personal take. A lot of it is just going off of vibes here. This is not going to be a really huge deep dive where I'm going to analyze every bit of evidence like my other videos about how I believe Taylor is in a fake PR relationship with Travis Kelce. But if you're interested in that topic with plenty of receipts, please go check that out. But anyway, my theory is that Taylor's true beef has to do more with Ryan Reynolds than Blake. I think Ryan is kind of the instigator between all of this Blake and Justin drama, and Taylor is probably putting a temporary pause in her friendship with Blake because she's waiting and maybe hoping that Blake and Ryan eventually divorce before she resumes a public friendship with Blake again. It's like when one of your friends gets poisoned by their toxic relationship, and then it slowly changes their whole personality, and it gets to a point when you just have to say to them, look, I love you, but your boyfriend or your husband, they just suck. So can you just call me when you break up? Ryan strikes me as an insecure husband, over-controlling psycho. But he's had this pattern of behavior before. His ex-wife, Scarlett Johansson, seemed to kind of imply that in some of the interviews that Ryan was jealous of her success compared to his. And his other ex, Alanis Morissette, wrote an interesting song called Straight Jacket about Ryan driving her crazy with how he was a manipulative gaslighter. Also, when Blake and Ryan met on the Green Lantern movie, they did supposedly, allegedly, maybe start off their relationship while each of them were already dating or married to other people. So Blake has a history of dating her co-stars after filming on a set. And when a relationship is built off of a possible affair, there's always that thought in the back of your mind that, well, your partner has cheated on someone to be with you before, so what's stopping them from doing the same to you? So Ryan has always probably felt on guard with Blake. But anyway, they go on and they have this long marriage so far and have 4 kids, and Blake takes numerous years off from acting at different points throughout the years to raise their family, which is fine if it's your choice, but it just seems like that was always kind of the dynamic that Ryan preferred. Because meanwhile, Ryan was out hustling for roles and getting major recognition from being Deadpool. He had finally reached A-list status, and Blake was a stay-at-home mom. But it seemed like Blake finally wanted to dive back into acting after a 4-year hiatus between 2020 and 2024, so her and Ryan decided that they were going to try to go all out and cash in like he did with Deadpool. 'Cause you see, Ryan was the main driver behind getting Deadpool made. Apparently he was pushing studios for a real solo Deadpool adaptation for years and years until it finally happened, and we know how persistent Ryan is. Even for this movie, It Ends With Us, which some would say is just kind of a low-key romance, drama, novel adaptation, he was still pulling out all the stops to all of his other A-list buddies like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck to try to get them all on board with Blake's version of the movie. It just seemed like Ryan wanted Blake to imitate him and have some sort of movie franchise of her own, maybe to help build his empire and cement them as some sort of Hollywood power couple like they've always been. And so he really encouraged her to take control of a project by force. And so she did. Only problem was that the movie It Ends With Us wasn't hers to take. She plotted and schemed to grab creative and executive control of the film from a newer and lesser-known director, Justin Baldoni. Throughout all of these text exchanges and emails, which I won't go over in this video because other people are doing it way better than me, the overarching theme in all of these messages seemed to be that power and creative control was the number one goal, even from the beginning during pre-production, and it seemed like the claim of sexual harassment on set was kind of secondary to all of it. So back to Ryan, I do think that he felt threatened by Justin in some weird way. Justin probably triggered some weird deep-seated insecurity within Ryan, and he decided to hate the guy from the beginning. And Blake has also somehow developed the weird, same sarcastic, overly sexual Deadpool-like humor that Ryan has had over the years of being married to him. She had texted Justin from the beginning that, if you knew me in person longer, you'd have a sense of how flirty and yummy the ball-busting will play. It's my love language. Spicy and playfully bold, never with teeth. Okay, look, that's kind of a weird precedent to set for the beginning of a movie production. I think the lines might have been blurry from the start, especially with a statement like that. And so, yeah, did Justin actually sexually harass her? I don't know. I'm still waiting on clear evidence that he did, and personally, I haven't seen it yet. But maybe there were some moments where there was some uncomfortable sexual comment that was made by him, and maybe the lines were already blurry to begin with because that was the kind of banter that they were used to during filming. And maybe if there was some sort of weird comment that Justin made, maybe Blake had just brushed it off at the time because she was also playing into those flirty, jokey moments too. But when you're in an emotionally abusive, controlling relationship, like I believe Blake is with Ryan, every innocent moment gets amplified and reframed in a more menacing way. And then Blake has to get on the defensive and try to backpedal and prove to Ryan that she definitely was against Justin the whole time and she never wanted any of it. Like, it seriously screams of someone who is desperate to redirect their controlling spouse's anger on anyone but themselves. And if you've been around anyone that's quick to accusations and anger, and you feel like you have to walk around on eggshells to be around them, it's actually a very normal human response to try to shift the blame on something else, because you'd rather they be mad at someone else than mad at you. And all of this maneuvering and manipulative behavior from Blake is just her trying to overcompensate and appease Ryan. Blake's trying to prove that she can be a good, loyal wife. She's trying to prove that she can also be a boss babe and take control of a movie like Ryan did with Deadpool. Blake's also kind of a mean girl, and she has her own host of faults, but I think Ryan amplifies that. I think behind closed doors, behind that image of the perfect Hollywood couple that Ryan and Blake portrayed for so long, Ryan and Blake probably fight a lot. Their personalities seem like two narcissists that feed into each other, and I feel like Blake probably goes to her friends in private and talks mad shit about Ryan when they're not getting along, but then when they make up again, she goes and defends Ryan and has to over-explain why she's still in that marriage, like she's still trying to convince herself that she's got it under control. And I'm sure Blake has probably vented a bunch of her personal grievances about Ryan to Taylor, and Taylor's honestly probably exhausted. That and the fact that Taylor seemed to have finally picked up on the fact that her friend had been love-bombing the hell out of her for years as a way of sucking up to her power and influence. Their friendship feels like something that Ryan definitely pushed for them to have because he loves power, and Taylor is pretty much the most powerful person in the music industry. And I think over time, Taylor probably felt that dynamic change to become way more obvious and way more superficial. And as the lawsuit went on, she could feel more and more of Ryan's voice and Blake's communication, like he was hovering over Blake's shoulder telling her what to type. She basically said all of this already to Blake because she said that Blake's messages seemed more like mass corporate emails that she was sending to a company rather than a friend, with the amount of times that she was saying the word we. And so that's probably why Taylor decided to withdraw, and that's why she asked Travis to unfollow Ryan on Instagram in order to make some sort of kind of subtle PR statement about where her opinion lies. So I do think that Taylor is probably not speaking to Blake now, and she's probably very angry and sad about how much her friend has seemingly lost herself to her crazy husband. Taylor also definitely hates how she's been dragged into a lot of this mess, considering Taylor's always got some sort of mess or scheme of her own going on. But I don't think their friendship is done forever. Taylor made sure to release the song Cancelled, which, as you know, is a song about how she sticks by her friends and doesn't judge them for whenever they're being cancelled too. And with that song, I do think she's kind of saying that she'll always have Blake's back and she does care for her, but first Blake's got to get rid of that raging control freak of a husband, Ryan Reynolds, before they can be close friends again. Now, I've got a whole other theory on top of all this, and it has more to do with how I think Taylor's going to handle all of this negative PR that she's getting from all of these court documents being released. I do think that Taylor knew all of this was going to come out eventually, and people would turn on her and call her a snake again because she lied about how much actual involvement she had with the whole movie. Because it's already happening. People are really hating on Taylor Swift lately, and I can kind of see why. Taylor talks so much about the importance of artist ownership of their work, and meanwhile she's here helping her friend steal another dude's work. But I do think Blake manipulated Taylor just like she manipulated everyone else against Justin. So I think Taylor's perspective probably changed once she realized what was going on. And despite all this, I still kind of like Taylor. I like her music. I think she's interesting. I just understand that she's a little conniving sometimes, and I'm okay with that. I don't need to pretend that pop stars have to be perfect humans in order to like them and their music. It just makes them more fascinating to talk about. Anyway, where was I going with all this? Well, this fits into my larger theory, where, remember in my other videos, I said that Taylor is going to purposely burn her life to the ground in order to make a point, and that there will be a point where she breaks up with Travis and it is all revealed that the whole relationship was a sham and she was trying to portray a fake showgirl persona and teach her fans a lesson that they cannot control her dating life. Well, I do think that day is coming. I think Taylor and Travis are going to break up soon, and Taylor's reputation will be at its lowest. And that is by design, because when that happens, she will rise from these metaphorical ashes and release some Reputation vault track or maybe some new album that explains that this was all part of her master plan. She'll just bounce back like she always has. And with enough time, people on the internet, they'll just move on to the next drama. So this is going on right now, but we'll just have to wait and see what she has in store.